This game is amazing. Am I biased? Probably, yeah. Did I platinum the game? Sure did. Would I recommend this game to anyone who hasn't played it? Yeah. Hello and welcome everyone. Do you know how many of you are not subscribed? Hit that button and let's jump into the review. I wasn't really ready for how emotionally impactful Ghost of Tsushima would be, or for its stunning visuals that felt like stepping into a dream. I found myself using the word affecting a lot when talking about it with my coworkers because Jin Sakai's journey truly resonated with me. The game pulls from the rich tradition of samurai films, turning that vibe into an interactive experience that shines in those tense moments before a showdown in the striking beauty of revenge. I appreciate it for reasons I usually don't when I play games, when I think it's a remarkable achievement that make me notice aspects of game design I usually overlook. While I was playing, it struck me that Ghost of Tsushima is a perfect way to wrap up the PlayStation 4 era. It feels like a final chapter that showcases all the hard work developers have put into the console before the PlayStation 5 took over. Sure, it's not flawless, but in many ways it captures what modern gameplay and storytelling can achieve, which is pretty mind-blowing compared to what we had 5, 10 or even 20 years ago. Alright, here we go. It's 1274 and the Mongols are making their move on Japan. The fate of the mainland hangs in the balance and the only thing that can save it, it's you. By the way, I've experienced only the full-color English version of the Ghost of Tsushima. I found out about the black and white Kurosawa mode and the Japanese voice acting way too late. Ghost of Tsushima is more of an action adventure and stealth game rather than an RPG. Even though it gives players the chance to make conversation choices, those choices don't really change anything about the characters or the story. So the game really hinges on how much you like the main character, Jin Sakai, who is the ghost mentioned in the title, and the fixed narrative of his journey. Fortunately, Ghost of Tsushima introduces us to Jin Sakai, a character who can kick off a franchise. He is not just a warrior, he's a poet, a one-man hit squad. That's much intimidating. Plus, he's got that Disney princess vibe going on, hanging out with some friendly forest spirits. Honestly, he's one of the best acted video game heroes I've ever experienced. A lot of the credit for making us cheer for the guy on the screen goes to Daisuke Tsuji, who proves the voice, motion capture and facial modeling for Jin in the English version of the game. While the classic image of the samurai can easily fall into the cliché, Tsuji's rich voice and emotional depth elevate Jin's character, showcasing his quiet strength, rightful anger and endless compassion for the people of Tsushima. Jin truly shines as a main character and Daisuke Tsuji is a standout talent, no doubt about it. There were a few moments in Ghost of Tsushima that really impressed me with the voice actor's voice and the motion capture work. Patrick Gallagher from Glee takes on the role of the fictional Mongol antagonist Khotan Khan, bringing a chillingly humorous vibe to the character. He mixes Khotan's intense and brutal quest for peace in Tsushima with the unsettling nature of a man who believes he is in the right. Meanwhile, Sumali Montano's portrayal of Yuna, Jin's enigmatic ally, evolves beautifully as the story unfolds, giving her a character development that aligns perfectly with the game's main themes. Ghost of Tsushima's cast showcases impressive acting skills that go beyond just these three characters, and it's a testament to the game that its cinematic quality reaches further than that. I kicked off this review by raving about the acting cast in Tsushima, which might seem a little strange way to dive into the game criticism, but honestly a big part of what made my time with the game so enjoyable was how well Ghost of Tsushima nailed that cinematic vibe. Sure, it has its fair share of hiccups in mechanics and gameplay, I'll get to that, but the real win for Tsushima lies in storytelling direction and the way it makes you feel like the lead in an epic emotionally charged samurai movie. The tale of Ghost of Tsushima is told through three different types of quests: Jin's Journey, Tales of Tsushima and Mythic Tales. Jin's Journey serves as a main storyline and is divided into 3 acts, with each act culminating in a lengthy finale quest. I won't give away any spoilers for the main quest, just like I wouldn't ruin a movie's big moment in a review, but let me tell you, all 3 finales are absolutely epic. The stories in Tsushima are divided into 2 main types. Some focus on other characters like Sensei Ishigawa, a talented archery expert, Lady Masako, a fierce matriarch of the samurai family, Norio the monk, and Kenji, a lovable swindler but a hero. These tales unfold alongside Jin's journey and are best enjoyed while following the main storyline to keep the emotional flow intact. Other tales are like mini side quests that don't tie directly to any one character. They might not shake up the main story much, but a lot of them follow a solid 3-act structure, giving some depth to what could just be a bunch of fetch or combat quests. Some of these tales hit hard, showing how Jin can't always protect everyone from the horrors of war. Others blur the lines of morality, pulling Jin into some questionable actions. Finishing these quests is crucial for boosting Jin's reputation on the island. Seriously, completing them fills up a legend meter that gives you attribute points and makes quick casual gameplay feel more rewarding. Lastly, we have the mythic tales of Tsushima, which are quests that offer more than just helping villagers and give out rewards that are way cooler than a couple of technique points. You kick these quests off by tuning into musicians in the game who share stories about legendary heroes whose secrets have faded over time. That is, until Jin Sakai steps in to uncover them. The mythic tales really stand out in Ghost of Tsushima. Each one kicks off with a stunning animated cutscene inspired by Japanese ink wash art, which adds a dramatic flair. Plus, they unlock the game's top gear, coolest combat moves, and some of the most unforgettable side quests. If you haven't noticed from the trailers or screenshots, Ghost of Tsushima is an absolutely stunning game. The vibrant fall forests, foggy swamps, and majestic snow-covered peaks are so captivating that I frequently found myself halting my missions just to take in the views. As my coworker said, I never wanted to see another meadow in a video unless it's as gorgeous as the ones in Tsushima. The game takes advantage of its gorgeous environments to craft a vibrant island filled with mysteries, collectibles, and unpredictable enemy encounters. Uncovering these secrets is all about exploration. You might find a cool vanity item tucked away in a pagoda just as easily as you could dive into a fight to rescue a villager from some bandits. Tsushima breaks away from the usual action game features like on-screen maps and HUDs, giving players a clean and calming screen to enjoy. Instead of using waypoints and arrow, you find your way to your goals with the cool guiding wind mechanic. Just swipe controller touchpad and you see and feel a gentle breeze leading you right to where you need to go. While navigating the area, Jin is pleasantly distracted by golden birds that act as helpful guides, signaling that something intriguing is nearby. Even if it's a bit off the usual track, he can follow those birds to fox dens where friendly foxes show him the way to Inari shrines that offer combat charms. And yes, Jin can totally pet the foxes. He's basically a Disney princess. The birds can also lead him to bigger Shinto shrines that feature climbing puzzles similar to the tomb challenges in Assassin's Creed 2. These shrines provide more powerful charms that can really change the game. The island is packed with hidden gems like the Pillars of Honor, which pay tribute to the fallen samurai and come with collectible katana skins. You'll also find bamboo strikes that offer quick hit prompts for combat rewards, stunning spots to spark Jin's creativity for writing and reciting haikus, and relaxing hot springs where he can chill and regain the health while soaking in those steamy waters. Honestly, I can't help but appreciate how much this game cleverly included a nod to The Witcher 3's famous bathtub scene, a whole game mechanic just for getting the main character to unwind. Now, that's what I call living in the future. All these features, along with unexpected combat situation and the various tales of Tsushima, really bring the game's map to life with a sense of adventure and exploration. Later on, some spots might start to feel a bit repetitive. Seriously, so many foxes. But that's mainly if you're actively seeking them out for completion instead of just stumbling upon them. The combat in Ghost of Tsushima is both stylish and intense. What sets it apart from the usual block parry dodge routine is the addition of stances, which are unique movesets that give you an edge against specific weapon types. There's one for swords, there's one for shields, there's one for spears, and one more for those mace-wielding tough guys. A big part of the melee action is getting the hang of timing needed to switch between these advantages. You can have Jin stun a swordsman with a powerful stone stance overhead strike, then quickly transition to kick a spearman in the face using wind stance, and wrap it all up with a swift moon stance spin to take down a brute, all in just a few seconds. Tsushima scores big with its standoff system, letting you take down up to 5 enemies in a row by challenging them to face Jin one at a time in a quick time event. These standoffs are super intense, and when you manage to nail all 5 in a one-hit, one-kill streak, it feels absolutely epic. When I kicked off my journey in Tsushima, I figured the combat was pretty straightforward, though a bit harsh at times. Man, I was mistaken. Jin's trusty katana is definitely his main weapon, and there are plenty of cool smaller weapons you can pick up to keep things fresh as you move through the game. Kunai, those little throwing knives, are introduced early on and are super important for handling groups of enemies, but as you dive deeper into the game, melee fights can turn into wild chaos with bombs, knives, mystic sword moves, fire and poison, especially if you spend your technique points wisely. Add in the awesome sound of flawless parry and the dramatic slow-mo win of a perfectly executed dodge, you'll start to grasp just how epic the battles in Tsushima can be. While taking down a bunch of bandits can be a blast, Ghost of Tsushima also has a sneaky side to its combat. Sadly, the stealth mechanic don't quite hit the mark like the action does. One reason the stealth gameplay feels a bit dull is that the enemy AI is pretty weak. Jin can stroll into a camp, take out half the guys without anyone on the other side of the wall even noticing. And as he upgrades his stealth gear, getting caught becomes more of a minor annoyance than a real threat. The second issue with stealth is that Tsushima's movement mechanics can feel a bit unreliable, especially when grappling and jumping are involved. Maybe I was a bit overly careful in the beginning, but by the time I reached missions when Jin needed to leap from a yurt to a tightrope, I didn't feel fully in control or whether he'd make it or not. The animation for crouching, jumping, grappling are pretty rough and confusing, which means Jin might either land perfectly on the tightrope or end up face first in a bonfire. It's easy to see how this turned into a stealth problem pretty quickly. There are tons of stealth missions and follow-ups that instantly send you back to square one if you get seen. Seriously, game developers, we've been over this. As long as I keep my feet on the ground, which I mostly did, even with those tempting grapple points at enemy camps that I couldn't use. The stealth gameplay in Tsushima was pretty decent, just a bit too easy. But hey, easy can still be fun. Despite Jin Sakai's constant back and forth about whether to kill with honor or just take them out like it's a free-for-all at the bandit camp, he sure knows how to be a fun coward. Ghost of Tsushima stands out as a beautifully designed independent game that really made me appreciate details I usually overlook, like how the main character breathes, the stunning colors of sunrises and sunsets, and the delicate animations that express love and hate. It feels like a rare gem, polished but not flashy, and way more meaningful than it appears at first glance. After I wrapped up my first playthrough, I felt a bit heartbroken, but then I realized I could just dive back in and experience it all over again. As the credits rolled and my history-loving mind soaked in the finale, I recalled that there were actually 2 Mongol invasions of Japan. The first one is depicted in Ghost of Tsushima, supposedly took place in 1274. The second invasion happened just 7 years later in 1281. Maybe that little tidbit will lead us to Jin Sakai's next journey. I know I'm not the only one eager for the Ghost of Tsushima to make a comeback. Please make sure to leave a like and subscribe if this video helps you in your decision. It helps me provide more and better content for you. Thank you very much for watching. Leave a comment if you want more information on another specific title, and see you next time. Bye bye.